Segment 3, Gold and Black Live. Brian Neubert patiently waiting in that, I guess, a little bit warmer temperatures than here as he is getting ready for Purdue VCU. Brian, are you there?
I am here.
You are there. Good. Whether you want to be
Mission
or not.
Control's here.
Yeah. Well, all right. So it's really going to be an interesting game tonight, at least from my perspective. And interesting because you do pick Purdue to win, and Purdue is actually a 2.5-point favorite against the 20th ranked Virginia Commonwealth outfit. How do you see this one breaking down?
Well, I think obviously Purdue has to show it can handle pressure, and I think that gives you a long pause about this game because the term concentration has repeatedly come up about Purdue when it struggled this season, and that comes in many forms. And you kind of wonder where Purdue is in terms of its ability to handle pressure, to concentrate on what it has to do to beat kind of ultimate pressure, and that's what they're going to see with VCU. It's really going to put the onus on No-Gel Eastern, Eric Hunter, Isaiah Thompson, if he gets significant minutes in this game, to be able to be poised and composed and all that comes with it. Purdue's got to get the ball inside. Purdue has to get the ball to Matt Harms and Travion Williams. That's where their strength lies. That's going to be easier said than done tonight. I just think that Purdue, I guess call it a benefit of the doubt pick. I just think Purdue, is getting better based on Chicago State, Jacksonville State. I understand those aren't the greatest teams in college basketball, but I just think Purdue is trending well. VCU has played one high major to this point, beat them by 2 points at home despite 26 turnovers by LSU. Obviously, VCU gets credit for forcing 26 turnovers. But I just think Purdue has been tested a couple times, and Purdue's had some practice here. Purdue's in a position where it should be a better team than the one you last saw play a high major opponent.
Ryan, I can't get over how young you look in your mugshot up here.
No, that's just last year.
Hey, real quick, Brian, talk about the sense of urgency. Purdue's had 2 opportunities against high majors, Texas and Marquette. They came up short. Talked to Matt Painter earlier this week. There seems to be a sense of urgency here to start, polishing up the NCAA resume. It's never too early to start thinking about March, VCU, then either Tennessee or Florida State. I mean, Purdue has to make some hay down in Florida, doesn't it?
Right. You would think so, but at the same time, Purdue lost every one of these games last year. Every single one of them last year in non-conference play. And, still won the Big Ten and still damn near went to the Final Four. So I think you obviously want to win games. Winning helps your NCAA tournament resume far more than losing ever could. But I think the more important part is that these games just make you better. And I think Texas and Marquette, probably have made Purdue better. And now it's time for Purdue to show how much better those games made it. Purdue is going to be playing this type of schedule every year if they have any say-so in the matter. And I think that really kind of lends itself to improvement, but it also helps your NCAA tournament resume just by challenging yourself. I think even if you lose these games, you still get credit for playing in them when all is said and done in March. But obviously, I'm not saying all of that to belittle the importance of winning these games. You obviously want quality wins on your non-conference resume, and Purdue gets a couple opportunities here in Florida to get a few more, and then another one against Virginia as soon as they get home.
Purdue VCU tonight, 9:30. CBS Sports Network, I should say. Check your local listings for that. Brian, I don't know if you've had a chance to even go to the venue yet, but do you have any sense of what kind of facility Purdue's playing in tonight? I don't even have any idea. I know there are a lot of Purdue people that are down there in terms of it always seems to be the case that Purdue will have a good contingent of fans down there. But any clue of what you might expect down there?
Yeah. I haven't been to the facility yet. I'm actually staying 40 minutes away, much to my infinite wisdom. And the traffic is not pleasant. But it is a junior college gym, kind of reminiscent of a really, really high-end high school gym.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me from an environmental standpoint, kind of Maui a little bit, maybe a little bit bigger than Maui. But what Maui does is they cram a lot of people in a very small space, and it gets pretty cool from an environmental standpoint. The thing about these early season tournaments is these are your diehards. These are your people who are traveling to come watch you play, or the people from all across the country who never get to see you play. So they're especially excited to be there. So the environments at these things get really, really neat. Sometimes Purdue fans typically travel better than a lot of places. I attribute that to both Purdue's passion for basketball, but also the fact its alumni base is so spread out because of the nature of the university. But it will be a small venue that should make for a pretty cool environment, especially if Purdue plays like Florida State. When all is said and done here after today, because obviously Florida State should have some fans here. We're obviously not far from Knoxville either, so I'm sure there's some Tennessee fans who are kind of hanging around here in SEC country. So this could make for a pretty decent environment.
How crazy would it be that Purdue would play Tennessee and then play Virginia in back-to-back games, just like the Boilermakers did in Louisville last year? It's interesting because when Tom talked to Matt Painter, and I know Matt Painter has a mind like a steel trap, doesn't forget games. You remember well, I think the game in the United Center when VCU and Shaka Smart ran wild on Purdue. This means little to nothing to these current guys because they were about in the fifth grade at the time. But it does seem, I was just taken by Matt's comments that he remembered that and remembered that they still play kind of the same way, that there is a memory among the fan base of what VCU has meant to Purdue. And, of course, VCU did that to a lot of people there that year. They went to the Final Four. But I thought that was an interesting sidelight to tonight's game as well.
Yeah, Mike Rhodes, VCU's coach, was on that staff under Shaka Smart. If I recall correctly about that game, Purdue didn't lose that game because of VCU's pressure, even though they had some issues at point guard. Kelsey Barlow wasn't available, so Jerome Johnson had to be much more of a point guard. If I recall correctly, Purdue lost that game because they couldn't guard a ball screen. They just VCU's point guard kind of put them in a blender over and over again. Purdue couldn't guard it for whatever reason, but. This is going to look like that same VCU team. They kind of play the same way, and that's 3 coaches ago. It's not often you see, style of play transcend so many coaching staffs. Obviously, they went from Shaka Smart to Will Wade, now to Mike Rhodes, and it's still kind of the same style. It's still that sort of frenzied defensive pressure, backcourt trapping. As Matt Painter puts it, if they sense weakness, they're coming 10 times harder. As I said before, it's going to put kind of ultimate onus on Nogel Eastern, Eric Hunter, Isaiah Thompson if he sees meaningful minutes. If Matt Painter trusts him at this point against this caliber opponent, against this style of play, it's going to put kind of ultimate pressure on them to get the ball up the floor, to be composed, to make good decisions, and to get the ball inside to Matt Harms and Travion Williams when the opportunities present themselves.
Hey, real quick, Brian, it's early, but I'm fascinated to know your impressions of the Big Ten Conference early on, maybe teams that have impressed you, teams Purdue fans should be worried about, and how you size up the Big Ten so far in the early going.
Well, before I came to Florida, I thought the Big Ten, for lack of a better term, stunk. It just wasn't very good. But here the past couple of days, it looks like there's been some big wins. Michigan's doing real well, obviously got a couple of really good wins over Creighton, over North Carolina, if I saw that score correctly.
Yep.
Maryland's obviously pretty good. Ohio State's having a pretty solid season so far. But
Iowa, Illinois, Minnesota.
I don't think Iowa's any good.
What about Michigan
State?
State?
Beat somebody good. I can't remember who they beat, but they beat somebody good. Texas Tech. I don't think they're any good. I think they're unathletic. I think they're going to be an average team. But I don't think Michigan State's unbeatable either. And they're obviously the big dog in the conference. I don't trust Maryland to be as good as they're supposed to be. I don't know why. I just don't. But I think the league might be a little bit more open than everybody thought it was, and I think it's an opportunity for Purdue to beat some people that maybe on paper it doesn't look like Purdue should be beating, but also rack up wins because the league is not great top to bottom. I think Wisconsin's really mediocre. I think Minnesota's going to be really mediocre. I think Indiana might be mediocre. We don't know because they haven't played anybody. I think the bottom of the league is as bad as it's ever been in terms of Rutgers, Northwestern, I shouldn't say Rutgers. Rutgers is getting better, but they're not the bottom of the Big Ten anymore because Northwestern and Nebraska are atrocious. In my opinion, I know Northwestern beat some people, but I don't think those are good teams. I think the league is average. To be honest with you.
And Brian, just so that you want to know that your memory is still good, I did look it up here. Purdue only had in the 2011 game 7 turnovers in that game. VCU only had 4, but it was Bradford Burgess that did the Boilermakers in, among others, with 23 points in that 94-76 Purdue lost to VCU. So that hopefully will be, if you're a Purdue fan, will be in the rearview mirror. But Brian, we'll look forward to your coverage tonight. It'll be wall to wall, I'm sure, and then hopefully, at least for your sake, that maybe you'll, if Purdue can get to the championship game, you'll have a little bit more time, because if Purdue plays in the consolation game, I believe that time tomorrow, which will be an important game, whether it's the consolation or the championship, because you're going to play a quality opponent. 4 o'clock start, I believe, Eastern for that game. I believe the championship will be in that 7 o'clock time frame tomorrow night, being Saturday night. Of course, Purdue fans will be watching the Old Oak and Bucket game starting at noon. So, Brian, have a great I don't know, you don't have to have a great game, but just enjoy doing your work, and we'll look forward to reading it tonight.
No problem, guys.
All right, thanks.
Take care, Brian.
All right, an end of another show, and we've enjoyed this one very much. It was kind of nice just
Best
to
ever.
lay back and talk some, and Brian always has great insight into what we're going to see tonight as well. I want to thank Tom Schott from Purdue Athletics, who came in and lended his perspective and his time talking about the bucket game. I know your prediction's going up, but quickly, what do you think we're going to see tomorrow? Are you picking Purdue?
I'm picking Purdue. I think it could be a fun game, weather permitting. I think we could see a lot of points. Neither defense is stellar. Both offenses have proven that they can move the ball and score. So I'm looking for a big game with a lot of points.
All right, so I said 28-27, but I'm going to scale that back point-wise, 28-27 Purdue. If the weather's bad, I get spooked from that Illinois game just because that was such an atrocious football game to have to watch on either side of the ball, just about. But don't think we're going to have that much rain tomorrow. Let's hope so from that standpoint. All right, want to thank Kurt Larman, Gordon Jackson, and all the folks at WL5, especially those guys today, for coming in on their day off to make this happen. We very much appreciate that. And we will be back in 2 weeks for our show. December 13th, I believe, is the date. Jason Biedekofer, I believe, is scheduled to join us, and we'll be talking Purdue basketball as well, as the Boilermakers will be right in the middle of Big Ten play, in the middle of finals week, but between their home game against Northwestern and their road game against Nebraska, as the Boilermakers will be playing Big Ten basketball just 2 weeks from now. So have a great rest of your Thanksgiving weekend. If you're a Purdue fan, you hope tomorrow is a big day for the Boilermakers tonight as well, and we'll look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks on Gold and Black Live.